Have you ever felt drained after talking to someone? Like the weight of their negativity is pressing down on your soul? Have you ever wondered why some people in your life seem to dim your light instead of celebrating it? Ladies and gentlemen, I have faced many kinds of pain in my life. The sharp, physical pain of shattered bones, the deep, emotional pain of betrayal. But let me tell you, the most insidious, the most silent, and the most devastating pain I have ever encountered is the kind inflicted by toxic people. It is not a visible wound. It is not a crash you can point to. It is the slow, quiet poisoning of your soul. They are the beautiful looking apples with the rot inside. You ask me how to identify them? I say, stop looking at their face and start listening to the sound of your own heart when they are near. For too long, we have been taught to be polite, to be forgiving, to keep the peace. We are taught that being a good person means sacrificing your own well-being to accommodate the darkness in others. I know this lesson well. I clung to relationships and people who were chipping away at my sense of self-worth long after the signs were screaming at me. We build boundaries to keep the bad things out, the bad habits, the bad choices. But we often leave the doors wide open for the bad people, the energy vampires, the emotional saboteurs because they wear the disguise of family, friend, or partner. My journey from being broken to becoming unbreakable was not just about healing my body. It was about fiercely auditing the inhabitants of my heart. Today, we are going to learn how to identify the venom, not by the packaging, but by the effect it has on you. They drain your energy. One of the most obvious signs of a toxic person is the way they leave you feeling. After spending time with them, do you feel exhausted, heavy, or emotionally depleted? These individuals often thrive on conflict, drama, and emotional turbulence, feeding off the energy of those around them. They may appear charming or persuasive at first, but their presence slowly erodes your vitality. When someone consistently leaves you feeling drained, it is a warning that your energy is being consumed without reciprocation. Energy is our most precious resource, and protecting it is not selfish, it is survival. Toxic people rarely give without expecting something in return, and even small interactions can leave lingering stress and anxiety. You may find yourself replaying conversations, doubting your choices, or feeling emotionally unsettled after being around them. This pattern is not normal, and recognizing it is the first step toward reclaiming your peace. Pay attention to your body's responses when you are with certain individuals. A tight chest, fatigue, restlessness, or irritability are all signs that someone's presence is negatively affecting you. Your intuition is a powerful guide, and it often signals when a relationship is draining your spirit. Listening to these subtle signals is not just awareness, it is a form of self-love. Being kind does not mean being a doormat. It means understanding the value of your energy and choosing carefully who you allow into your inner circle. It means recognizing that protecting yourself is not cruelty, it is wisdom. Toxic people often test your boundaries and patience, and learning to enforce limits is essential for emotional survival. You may feel guilty for walking away or limiting time with toxic individuals, especially if they were once close to you. But remember, prioritizing your well-being is not betrayal, it is courage. You are not responsible for their happiness, only for your peace and your growth. Choosing to distance yourself is a statement of self-respect and strength. Notice the difference when you are with people who uplift you versus those who drain you. Genuine friends energize your spirit, inspire you to grow, and leave you feeling lighter and happier. Comparing these experiences will help you clearly distinguish toxic relationships from nurturing ones. Your energy deserves to be invested in those who return it with care and authenticity. Finally, remember that energy is contagious. Surrounding yourself with negativity will dim your light, but choosing positivity and healthy connections will illuminate your path. Protecting your energy allows you to thrive, pursue your dreams, and embrace life fully without unnecessary weight dragging you down. Recognizing energy draining individuals is the first step in reclaiming your power and walking confidently toward a life of joy. They are consistently negative, toxic people rarely see the good in life. Their conversations are filled with complaints, criticisms, and endless negativity. They magnify every problem, finding fault in situations where solutions exist. Over time, this consistent pessimism wears down your optimism, leaving you doubting yourself and questioning your decisions. Their worldview is often limited to fear, resentment, and envy, and being around them can feel like stepping into a storm. Negativity is contagious, and a toxic person will drag you into their darkness if you are not careful. They rarely celebrate victories, and when you succeed, they may belittle or minimize your achievements. Their focus is always on what is wrong rather than what is possible, and they can make you feel guilty for hoping or dreaming. Recognizing this behavior requires honesty and self-awareness, and it is a crucial step toward protecting your mental health. Toxic people often disguise negativity as realism or truth, but there is a difference between constructive criticism and destructive pessimism. Constructive voices offer solutions, encouragement, and guidance, while toxic negativity breeds hopelessness and fear. Observing the patterns in how someone communicates will reveal whether they are a source of growth or a drain on your spirit. When you are exposed to constant negativity, it is natural to absorb some of it yourself. You may feel your confidence shaking, your heart sinking, and your dreams fading. This is why awareness is vital. Protecting your emotional landscape means recognizing when negativity is not an isolated moment, but a consistent presence that hinders your growth. It is important to establish boundaries and reduce exposure to constant negativity. This may mean limiting time spent with certain individuals or disengaging from conversations that leave you emotionally exhausted. Setting these boundaries is not rejection, it is preservation. Your mental clarity, optimism, and peace are far too precious to be sacrificed on someone else's bitterness. Genuine people lift others, even in difficult times. They encourage, support, and see the silver lining where others see only clouds. When comparing the effects of toxic versus uplifting relationships, the choice becomes clear. Surrounding yourself with negativity will pull you down, but aligning with positivity will allow you to rise, dream, and embrace your true potential. Finally, remember that life is too short to be constantly burdened by negativity. Recognizing toxic patterns empowers you to make conscious choices about the company you keep. Every moment spent around negativity is a moment lost for growth, joy, and self-discovery. Choosing to walk away from persistent negativity is a declaration that you deserve peace, happiness, and fulfillment. They manipulate and control. One of the most dangerous traits of toxic people is their ability to manipulate and control. They are skilled at twisting words, playing with emotions, and creating situations that serve only their agenda. Often, this manipulation is subtle and hard to detect at first. They may make you feel guilty for saying no, pressure you into decisions, or make you question your own judgment. The danger lies in how this slowly chips away at your confidence and autonomy, leaving you dependent on their approval. Manipulation is a form of emotional exploitation, and toxic individuals are masters at disguising it as concern or love. They may insist they are helping you, but their actions are never in your best interest. They are in service of their ego. When someone consistently pressures you to act against your intuition or values, it is a red flag. Your inner voice is your most loyal ally, and you must trust it above external pressures, no matter how persuasive or familiar the person seems. Toxic people often use emotional coercion to maintain control. They guilt you into compliance, make you feel unworthy without them, or exaggerate situations to provoke fear and dependency. This behavior can leave you doubting yourself, questioning your decisions, and even apologizing for asserting boundaries that are entirely healthy. Recognizing these patterns is crucial because manipulation erodes your sense of self without obvious signs until it is deeply ingrained. They may also use charm and flattery to gain influence over you. Compliments, gestures, or promises are tools to make you trust them, while their ultimate goal is to ensure you follow their path, not yours. Toxic people often confuse loyalty with submission and their need to dominate can feel overwhelming if you are unaware of their tactics. Understanding these subtle behaviors is key to identifying manipulation before it harms your well being. Learning to set boundaries is the most powerful defense against control. Saying no, expressing discomfort, and refusing to be coerced are not acts of rebellion, they are acts of self respect. The toxic individual may resist or attempt to challenge your boundaries, but this is a test of your resolve. Standing firm is not cruelty, it is courage and an affirmation of your right to choose your own life path. When you begin to recognize manipulation, it is also important to cultivate self-confidence and emotional resilience. Toxic people prey on uncertainty and self-doubt. The stronger your awareness of your values, desires, and needs, the less vulnerable you become to control. Surround yourself with those who respect your autonomy and distance yourself from those who consistently undermine it. Finally, trust your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is. Manipulation thrives in silence, doubt, and confusion. The moment you honor your intuition, you reclaim your power, your clarity, and your right to lead your life without external control. Recognizing and addressing manipulation is an essential step toward freedom, peace, and authenticity. They lack empathy. Empathy is the heart of healthy human connection, and toxic people often lack it completely. They dismiss feelings, belittle experiences, and show little concern for how their actions affect others. Conversations with them are one-sided, focused primarily on their needs and emotions, while yours are minimized or ignored. This lack of empathy is not accidental, it is a consistent pattern that signals a profound inability to genuinely connect. Toxic individuals may pretend to care when it serves them, but their concern is always conditional. True empathy is consistent, compassionate, and selfless. It listens without judgment, supports without conditions, and values the emotional experience of the other. When someone repeatedly invalidates your feelings or uses them against you, it is a clear sign that they are toxic and incapable of providing the emotional support you deserve. They often compare your struggles with their own or redirect attention to themselves, making you feel unheard and unimportant. Your pain becomes a backdrop for their narrative, and your triumphs are dismissed if they cannot relate. Over time, this erodes self-esteem and fosters a sense of isolation. Recognizing the absence of empathy allows you to protect your emotions before they are repeatedly trampled. Another subtle sign is their inability to apologize or take responsibility. When they hurt or disappoint you, they may rationalize their actions, blame you, or gaslight the situation. Empathy requires accountability, yet toxic individuals rarely demonstrate this quality. Their disregard for your emotional well-being is a reflection of their inner limitations, not a flaw in you. Toxic people may also exploit emotional vulnerabilities to manipulate or dominate. They are aware of your sensitivity and use it against you, creating guilt or fear to control outcomes. Understanding this dynamic is crucial for developing emotional resilience. You must learn to protect your heart while remaining compassionate toward others who are capable of genuine empathy. Investing in relationships with empathetic individuals brings emotional nourishment and trust. Their ability to understand, respect, and support your feelings fosters growth, confidence, and connection. When compared to toxic people, the contrast is stark. You begin to realize that empathy is a cornerstone of healthy, fulfilling relationships. Finally, cultivating awareness of empathy allows you to navigate life with clarity and self-respect. Recognizing the absence of empathy in others does not make you bitter, it makes you wise. By choosing relationships that value understanding and compassion, you create a circle that elevates your spirit and nurtures your soul, leaving no room for toxic influences. They repeatedly break trust. Trust is the foundation of every meaningful relationship, and toxic people often violate it. They lie, betray confidences, or fail to honor commitments. These breaches may start small, a forgotten promise, a casual lie, but over time, they form a pattern that undermines your sense of security. Trust is earned, and toxic individuals treat it as expendable, disregarding the emotional consequences of their actions. Repeated betrayal is a test of your awareness and self respect. A single mistake may be forgiven, but when someone continually breaks trust, it signals a lack of integrity. Toxic people rarely change because accountability is foreign to them. Recognizing this pattern early protects you from prolonged harm and emotional suffering. They may manipulate situations to justify their dishonesty, making you doubt your perception. Gaslighting, shifting blame, or trivializing breaches of trust are common tactics. Toxic individuals often convince themselves and others that they are not at fault, leaving you questioning your judgment. This is why it is essential to remain grounded in your own truth and recognize consistent behaviors rather than isolated incidents. Toxic people may also betray trust indirectly by gossiping, sharing personal information, or undermining your reputation. These actions are designed to weaken your confidence, isolate you, or gain control. A pattern of repeated breaches erodes the foundation of any relationship, making it impossible to cultivate a sense of safety or mutual respect. Protecting yourself from repeated betrayal requires clear boundaries and self-awareness. Distance, confrontation, or disengagement are not acts of cruelty, they are acts of self-preservation. Trust is sacred, and no one has the right to repeatedly violate it without consequences. Your well-being and peace are paramount, and it is your responsibility to safeguard them. Observing patterns over time is crucial. Actions speak louder than words, and repeated betrayal cannot be excused or ignored indefinitely. Toxic people often show charm or remorse temporarily, but their consistent behavior reveals their true nature. Recognizing this allows you to make conscious choices about who belongs in your life and who does not. Finally, surrounding yourself with trustworthy individuals restores faith in human connection. When trust is honored, relationships flourish, and emotional security strengthens your ability to grow, love, and thrive. Choosing to step away from those who repeatedly break trust is not weakness, it is courage, wisdom, and a declaration that your peace is non-negotiable. At the end of the day, recognizing toxic people is not an act of judgment, it is an act of self-love and courage. It is about honoring your own heart, your energy, and your emotional well-being. Life is too precious to be spent in the shadows of manipulation, betrayal, and negativity. When you learn to identify those who drain your spirit, dismiss your feelings, manipulate your choices, or break your trust, you are reclaiming your power and protecting the space in which your soul can thrive. Surround yourself with people who uplift, empathize, and celebrate your journey, because these relationships fuel growth, inspire confidence, and illuminate the path toward your true potential. Walking away from toxic influences is not abandonment. It is liberation. It is the conscious choice to invest in authenticity, respect, and positivity, rather than chaos and harm. By understanding the patterns of toxicity and trusting your intuition, you create a life filled with relationships that honor your value, support your dreams, and nurture your spirit. Protect your peace fiercely, embrace your worth unapologetically, and move forward with clarity, strength, and unwavering confidence, knowing that every step away from toxicity is a step closer to the life you deserve.